Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to BCL Beyond the Boundary. BCL Beyond the Boundary 2 now, with myself, Simon Booth. I'm very happy to have our illustrious chairman with us, Mr. John Hutchinson. Evening, John.
Good evening, Simon. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Very well. Thank you very much. So, roughly on the calendar, 10 months ago, me and you had a bit of a chat over Zoom, and we introduced the BCL Beyond the Boundary, the concept around what it was that the Bolton League was trying to achieve. And obviously we were in lockdown and the rest of it. And I've spoke to a load of different people. I had some really, really good chats with people, up and down the league and such. So fast forward, 10 months, 12 months, whatever it may be. Obviously, the announcement was put out last night by the league exec with regards to the 2021 cricket season for Bolton Cricket League. So I just wanted to sort of speak to yourself, get your views, obviously, from the chair. But I think first things first, we need to sort of address the last 12 months, essentially. What's gone on in the area, what's happened, potential impact on local cricket. So obviously, we've been in a worldwide pandemic for a kick-off. In your words, John, how do you think the area has either reacted to it or been affected by it?
Well, we think back to last season, we managed to get our plans in place really well. We got the season underway as early as any other league in the country, and we played a decent sub-season, if you like, of senior cricket. We got a lot of junior games in, but then the Bolton area lockdown hit us like a bolt from the blue right towards the end of the season, when it meant it ended up with the executive cancelling the season, declaring the season null and void towards the end of the season. So having made so much progress and done so well with all our volunteers and the time they put in, it was a bit of a body blow to have to wipe the season as we passed the 3/4 point. But I couldn't say speak any higher for the people who put all the effort in to get cricket underway last season. Obviously, we've now been in lockdown for a long time during the close season, and we're very much in the same position for 2021, other than with a chance now of starting the season at the beginning rather than partway through.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will all pull together and make that possible.
Okay. Obviously, it's been a huge impact. I mean, we're not far off. What are we? 12 days away from 12 months ago when the lockdown started, roughly 23rd of March-ish. So we've had, 12 months of in and out of lockdown and the rest of it. Obviously, you're involved at various clubs and obviously within our league chairman. How do you think it's affected clubs? What effect do you think it's had?
I think it's each club is different. I think it'd be fair to say that not necessarily the bigger clubs, but the clubs that are more dependent on the social and bar activities to fund the cricket side of operations. Yeah, they're the clubs that have suffered because of the loss of income, certainly, and the grant funding that they've had to replace it has certainly been welcome, but it has not replaced all that income. Whereas I suspect that some of the smaller clubs, the grant funding has been a lifesaver for those clubs, and maybe they're not quite in the precarious position of, as I say, the bigger clubs. But I do think that each club is in a different position, and I wouldn't be in a position to sort of use a broad brush to describe the picture across all our member clubs. But if I had to, if my hand was forced, I would say it was the bigger clubs who are more reliant on the bar turnover and the functions, etc. They're the ones that really suffered.
Yeah.
So for me, that means that income generation is now more important than it might otherwise be. Mm-hmm. And we'll go on later, no doubt, to talk about things we can do to try and promote income generation at clubs.
Okay. So obviously, yeah, it's been a tough time for a lot of clubs, and you're quite right. Clubs are different. We've got clubs who don't necessarily open their doors during the week, etc., and maybe just open for cricket. Primarily a cricket club, and we have clubs that are open, morning, noon, and night, 7 days a week. So yeah, I take your point, and you're absolutely right. We're all in a different spot really, and probably Bolton being very unique in that respect. So. Let's fast forward.
What I worry about that I think gets overlooked, very much overlooked, is the mental health of the members of cricket clubs and the players in particular. We've gone an awful long time now with no activity, and I really would like to see things starting as soon as we possibly can on a realistic basis. Because I would say there are a lot of people out there now struggling with being locked up at their homes all day, etc. And it's gone on for a long time. And I would like to see things opened up, certainly in our case as a league by the beginning of May, so that people can go out and enjoy themselves playing cricket.
That's probably not just cricket as well. That's just things in general. No matter what.
Absolutely.
No matter what your pastime is.
Thankfully, I'm not responsible for running other things like the country as a whole. Perhaps I should be, but I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll ring Boris and we'll put our thoughts ahead. So. Fast forward a little bit. Obviously, we've had the announcement that went out yesterday from the exec with regards to the start of the 2021 cricket season, and obviously it only went out last night, whatever time it went out. So far, I think we've had quite a lot of positivity around the start of the season and why we've delayed the start of the season, because essentially there'll be a lot of leagues around locally who are going to start on the 17th of April. The Bolton League have obviously seen fit not to start on that day. Obviously, as the chairman of the league and maybe the spokesperson, can you sort of explain in your words why that decision took place?
First of all, I'll say it has put me in a little bit of a predicament because, as a member of the Lancashire group of league officials that meets regularly on Zoom, it was myself who was advocating making a joint decision on the start date for all leagues. So it's ended up with the Bolton League being out of line with the other leagues. But things have changed. That's why we're out of line. The England and Wales Cricket Board still haven't issued any guidelines as to what adaptive cricket, if it's going to be adaptive cricket, will look like at the start of the 2021 season. And we're in a position where we would prefer to see what those guidelines look like before we make any firm decisions. We also felt that it was important that players have an opportunity to train properly before they start matches. And with them not being allowed by the government to train outside until the beginning of April or right at the end of March, we felt it was only fair to give them a month's training practice time before matches start. Also, we've got the issue of trying to minimise the amount of time, the amount of games that are played where clubs have got to keep the indoor facilities closed. And it's looking like beyond the middle of May before indoor facilities can open, and therefore it made some sort of sense to knock 2 weeks of not being able to play with indoor facilities open on the head, and move those the fixtures, not move the fixtures for those 2 weeks, but move the fixture dates for those 2 weeks in April to later in the year.
Yeah, because it's important to say, obviously, that the fixtures are exactly the same. It's the same amount of games, it's the same amount of fixtures, it's the same amount of engagement for clubs. It's just they've pushed them on a couple of weeks.
In the main, it'd be easier for players, for clubs, and for umpires if we started at the beginning of May rather than on the 17th of April. We just felt that overall it was a judgment call. We just felt that we can't please everybody, but we feel that the majority of participants will be happier if we started on the 1st of May. So that's how we ended up, after, as you'll know, long discussions, deciding that we're going to start on the 1st of May.
Well, there's one thing for certain: you definitely cannot please everybody. That's a certainty, and there's no getting away from that.
And as you'll know, I've tried my best to go to the other extreme and please nobody whatsoever. But I've not even managed. I've not quite managed that yet. But I'm trying my best. But we had a great discussion about it, covering all aspects of the decision, and I'm very comfortable with the decision that we've reached.
I think most people are at the moment. There's been very little sort of kickback or negativity, and you know, as long as we get enough cricket in, i.e., we get our cricket that's been scheduled, then you know, there's no negative for me, and I think
it's extending the season by 1 week and playing a set of fixtures on a Sunday, which was previously going to be the Hamer Cup final Sunday. We moved the Hamer Cup final to the Birtwistle Cup final date and the Birtwistle final to September. Okay. So we created the dates to play these two fixtures that should have been or fixture dates that were in April.
Yeah.
And we've done well to move everything around quickly. And as I say, I'm comfortable with it, and I know that the other executive members are comfortable with it as well.
I think testament to Tracy Brooks and Ray Taylor, who do, because I can't get my head around all that. I'll be honest, it blows my mind, all the fixtures and how they get them all together. But fair play to them, you know, they've done it very, very quickly. So
yeah, they've done very well. Yeah.
Fair play to them. So obviously that's the reason for the season, why it's been delayed, etc. There's you know, huge opportunities.
It's only fair to say, David, we took soundings from clubs. You know, we didn't just go in a room on our computers and have a chat on Zoom and make a decision. We took soundings from clubs as to what they wanted, and the opinions were so varied that we made a decision where we felt it met the needs of the vast majority of our member clubs, no matter which side of the argument that they were between April and May that they were siding on. So I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know, for not going to name any names, but it was literally not far off 50-50 for all the clubs. So it's very difficult to gauge.
That was when it was a choice between starting on the 17th of April and towards the end of May.
Yeah.
It was about 50-50. Yeah.
So
I'm happy that we've had a localized discussion and being able to make a decision with it before the England and Wales Cricket Board have issued their guidelines, because it was looking at for quite a long time that we would need those to come through before we made the decision.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we got things sorted last night, and
a decision had to be made. We can't sort of keep messing around, keep messing all our clubs about.
I'm just so glad that we've not kept clubs waiting another week or another 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's the you know, the reasons for the delayed season. I want to sort of broach to something that was very, very positive last year and went down really, really well. And I want to talk about junior cricket to you, John, if that's okay. Yeah. So obviously, junior cricket is very, very different to the senior cricket. You know, there's no financial implications, there's no bars, there's no, you know, you don't need all that sort of, you know, kerfuffle. But obviously last year, the junior programme, you know, went down really, really well. And
because
you know,
we managed to get so many fixtures in, that's why we got the fixtures in very early after lockdown was lifted, and we got a lot of fixtures in, and I think clubs appreciated the efforts that the league went to get a junior cricket accommodated very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, one of the struggles last year was the format of the games were on a strict league, a traditional league basis. So some of the games were strong teams against weaker teams. So the junior executive committee this year has changed the format to introduce more round robin competitions. So there's more chances of clubs of similar ability playing against each other, which definitely helps. So full marks to the junior committee. But have I got your permission to just go on about junior cricket for a bit?
Well, listen, John. Junior cricket is such an important part.
People are watching this around the northwest and elsewhere, no doubt, or will be. I think it's only fair to say that my view is that the structure of junior cricket for children around the Bolton area and probably expanding into the Bury area is not ideal. It's not really fit for purpose as it currently stands. with clubs in different leagues, strong junior sections unable to play against each other, and equally clubs of if you like, a slightly a standard just below that not being able to play against each other, and clubs that are local to each other not being able to play against each other. So I'm very, very keen to forge closer relations, if you want to call it that, with the local leagues, particularly the Greater Manchester League, to see if we can do something about that structure to make it more suitable for developing young players from Bolton and, as I say, just outside Bolton in an effective way, regardless of what league they happen to play in. I just think that there's a better structure that can be in place very, very simply, whether it means that we create something like the Bolton Junior Cricket Forum or something, a joint structure, and that body takes control of junior cricket in the Bolton area. I don't know, but something needs to be done to improve the structure for junior cricketers in Bolton, because what we have now is piecemeal and it's not as good as it was. So for me, things that aren't as good as they were is not progress, that's regression. So something that I actually mentioned to a colleague from the LCF that earlier this week, that if we're sitting here thinking this is worse than what we had before, then we've not made progress, we've regressed. This is as a group of people looking after junior cricket across this part of Lancashire as a whole. I'm not talking about the Bolton Cricket League or Greater Manchester League having regressed. I'm talking about the people responsible for developing junior cricket as a whole around Bolton and Bury. What we have now is worse than what was there before, and therefore we need to do something about it. Now, also on junior cricket, now I'm on my hobby horse. I'm pleased to say that I've been approached by the chairman of the Northern Premier League, to introduce a competition at under 18s level between the two leagues, which will be on a home and away basis, and we play for a trophy that we're going to call the JD Bond Memorial Trophy. And so that's a brand new competition starting in this season in 2021. So that's a great initiative from ourselves in the Northern League, and I'm terribly grateful to the Northern League officials for accommodating us on that, setting up that competition. And I think this highlights the good thing about the Bolton League, that we're always looking for opportunities to make things better.
Yeah.
Whether it's in this case, whether it's with the Northern League for that competition or with the Greater Manchester League for the structure of junior cricket as a whole in our area, we just want things to get better. And whilst I'm chairman anyway, that's how it's going to be. We just want 2022 to be better than 2021 and 2023 to be better than 2022 and so on. And hopefully that's exactly what will happen. So there you go. Yeah, you asked me a 2-minute question about junior cricket and I've gone on for 10 minutes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, off script and off piece, but it's fine. There's no problem with that.
Sorry, I didn't. Let me just check. Oh yeah, you didn't tell me to say that.
Well, yeah. Listen, I like an exclusive. There's nothing wrong with an exclusive.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if someone wants to come back on social media later or any other method and say I'm wrong in saying that there needs to be something done about the junior cricket structure for Bolton and Bury, then please do, because I'm not wrong. So there we are.
So, John, just a question for me, and again, a bit off script, but is this something that's been spoke about before, or is it something that you're keen to speak about with other leagues? What are we up to with it?
I'm keen. I've spoken to both Nigel Stocks from the Greater Manchester League and Mike Hall from the Greater Manchester League, and also Dave Hutchinson, the chairman of the Northern League, and we're all of the same view that we need to improve the structure that's in place. Now, obviously, in terms of our day-to-day junior cricket in the area, we want to minimise the amount of travelling, because the great advantage we have is that we can play all these junior cricket matches within a closed geographical area. So we need, I think that Nigel, myself and Mike are all agreed that we need to get together between the Bolton League and the Greater Manchester League to have talks as to what we can set up to make things better in the Bolton area as a whole, Bolton and Bury area as a whole.
Okay. I mean, we start with juniors, you know, and we get that right, we've half a chance,
Well,
haven't we?
I mean, obviously, I think on a previous call with you, I've said that my personal view, and it's only my personal view, not the view of the Bolton Cricket League. My personal view is that there is a strong argument for having a Bolton and Bury cricket league as a whole. Certainly, a Bolton and Bury junior cricket league that mirrors the Bolton and Bury junior football league. I think there's a very, very strong argument for that, and hopefully we can build on that. You know, it could be such a, if you brought all the clubs in Bolton and Bury together, it would be such a strong league. It would. And you know, maybe there is a way that we can do that in the future. The beauty of it is, of course, it minimises the travelling still. So that's just my personal opinion. So I might as well put it out there.
Okay. Well, I'm sure someone will be listening to this.
The phone calls later.
Well, yeah, the phone will be ringing off the up later.
Yeah.
So my next,
well, I do feel that the closer relationship between the leagues is the way forward. You know, and certainly, if I can just go on to another area where I'm in full flow, the Northern League, again through Dave Hutchinson, have expressed an interest in having a cup competition from 2022 onwards between the Northern League, well, I say between, encompassing an open competition encompassing the clubs from the Northern League and the Bolton League, which I think is a cracking idea. And, you know, that's something we're going to be looking at for the remainder of 2021, seeing how we can form closer ties in that sort of a way, just to make things more interesting, you know, make things more competitive and more interesting. So we're always on the lookout for different ways of doing things, as we can afford to be, because we're a localized setup, and we have a certain amount of flexibility with having the executive in the decisions that we make.
Okay. Right, well, bit of a sneak preview or a bit of a...
You've had some scoops here, Boo.
I'm just thinking that, yeah. Right, okay, so that's interesting.
Don't say it. When people say that's interesting, they usually mean...
No, I mean it. I didn't know that.
I'm on the point of nodding off.
I genuinely mean it. As long as I don't have to drive to Barrow, I'm all in. Right, okay.
It's public transport for you, I'm afraid. Okay.
Right.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, every finger crossed, things will develop as the year goes on, so that 2022, as I said, is better than 2021, and so on and so forth.
Once we can start meeting face to face a bit more, and meetings and stuff, you know, things seem to be moving a bit quicker now. So hopefully, like you said, a few people can get round the table.
I'm zoomed up to the eyeballs at the moment. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But credit where credit's due. I've got to give credit to the Lancashire Cricket Foundation and John Murphy. I've got to give them credit for getting these meetings together. The meetings between leagues, both for the league officials and for junior cricket. It's a massive step forward to have those regular meetings, even though they're on Zoom, because we get to find out what other leagues are thinking much easier, and to reach decisions which are for the benefit of cricket as a whole. So fair play to John Murphy and James Cutt and everybody else at the LCF for sorting those meetings out. They've been really, really useful, I'd say.
Brilliant. Something you mentioned before, John. So you mentioned about sort of you know, building on success and looking at making 2021 be the best it can be, and build it. What's your idea with regards to, you know, we've set up for 2021, that it's now in stone. We all know what we're doing. T20 cricket is something that I've spoke about with pretty much every single person I've interviewed. And like it, lump it, doesn't matter. It is worldly renowned. It is a huge part of cricket. You know, what do you think about T20 cricket, and where do you think it's going in the future?
I've always been I've always been sort of sitting in the middle of the seesaw on it, because T20 cricket is brilliant for revenue generation, and with our clubs having been through this considerable period of closure because of the pandemic, they know the importance of revenue generation is more than it's ever been. It's more important than it's ever been. So I think the critical value of T20 is more prevalent than ever now. And even I, as being sort of sat in the middle on it, feel that we need to build on the success of our T20 competition. Certainly for 2021, a season in which we've introduced the Bolton League T20 to go on the back of the ECB T20 competition.
Yeah.
We need to make that a successful and thriving competition so that clubs can earn some money. Now, in a normal season, I'm of the view that you've got to balance income generation with developing young cricketers, because if you don't develop young cricketers, there won't be a future. So, and I'm afraid that trying to develop young cricketers, well, it's not something where you can make a profit. You can't make a profit out of developing young cricketers. It doesn't work like that. So, there's got to be a balance struck between the two in a normal season. But I think for 2021, we've got a major on income generation through T20 and charity days and things of that nature, for sure.
Okay, and I think most clubs would welcome that, to be fair, John. I think people want to get out there now, and if they can get out there with the least restrictions as possible.
We've got to get things on our grounds that will bring crowds on. It's as simple as that, to spend money. It's about sweating the asset and getting people to spend money. And, as I say, I'm a bit of a balance. I take a balanced view on T20, that it's a great income generator, but it's not that good for developing younger players. And but this season, I think the importance of T20 is greater than ever, simply because of the starting point for the clubs on minus whatever in terms of the funding position that they would, compared to where they would normally be.
Okay, superb. Well, I think looking at my bullet points, I think we've covered the majority of the stuff that we wanted to cover. Is there anything you want to add, John, as signing off?
I just wanted to say that I think that clubs can be very positive that 2021 is going to be a good season for the league, the Bolton Cricket League programme. I think that the executive committee has come up with a good solution to the situation of having 15 clubs in one league, with the situation where the league splits halfway through, so that the top clubs, if you want to call them that, can play each other in the second half of the season, and the clubs that finish, let's work it out, eighth and below, is it?
Let me cut across you, John, so that for the people who don't know how that works, just explain how this season is going to work in terms of a league programme.
It's in the first half of the season, every club will play every club, first team and second team, and then halfway through, well, it's not halfway through the season, it's once those games have taken place, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's 14 matches, is it?
That's right, yeah.
Once those matches have taken place, the league is split. It is obviously the league table is calculated in the normal way, and then it's split top half and bottom half. And with us having 15 clubs, the top half consists of 8, and the bottom half consists of 7. The top 8 go through into like, if you want to call it the grand finals section of the season, with 8 clubs playing against the top 8 playing against each other, but their points from the first half of the season are carried forward into their group.
Yeah.
And the other 7 play in a separate competition for the end of the season, but their points are not carried forward to that competition. So the beauty of that is that if a club has finished, say, 12th in the Open League at the beginning, they've still got a chance of winning something, because they're going into that second competition starting like all the other clubs in that second group on 0 points, so they can still win that second competition. So the points for the bottom, if you want to call them the bottom 7 clubs, the points for that competition are not carried forward. So I think it'll work quite well, but it goes without saying that it's not ideal to have this format. So I'm intent on finding a way that from 2022 we can establish a better format. It may be an overwhelming success, in which case I'll be eating my words, won't I? We won't need to change anything. But I would like us to reach a position where we can return to perhaps a more traditional fixture program in 2022.
Okay.
And I have to say that it's only fitting that I say that since we last had a discussion, we very unfortunately lost one of our executive committee members very suddenly, Tony Haydock.
Yeah.
And his big wish in life was that we go back to a more traditional fixture list from 2022 onwards. So I think that I'd support the late Tony's thoughts on that, and hopefully a better form. Well, it might not be a better format, but a different format will be reached for 2022. Okay. I don't know how you feel on that as a player.
I think home and away gives a lot more, not clarity to it, but I think it gives people more of an idea of where you're going to be. Whereas playing each other once, although it's not ideal, ultimately you're thrown in the same league and you've got to do what you do, and you either finish in the top half or you finish in the bottom half. So I think there's pros and cons to it, but certainly going back to a home and away fixture calendar, as it were, it would be the utopia, I think, for clubs, that you've got a home and away against everybody, and naming a few clubs, playing away on a Sunday at Horwich, where it's full and there's plenty of people watching, or a T20 game or what have you. I think most clubs to experience that sort of a thing, some clubs, again, playing at places like West Staunton, great facility. The home and the away calendar of fixtures obviously is probably the way forward, I think.
Yeah. What we need to remember, I think, Simon, is we have a unique selling point, and always have had in the Bolton League, which is we've got good standard cricket taking place at venues that are within a short geographical area of each other. And if we're not careful, this is people across regulating and administering cricket as a whole across the UK and in Lancashire. If we're not careful, that USP is going to be lost. And that, in my view, will be a disaster. To lose the unique selling points of having high standard league cricket within a short geographical area, probably more so in our area than anywhere else in the UK. If we lose that, then in my view, that's a very significant loss. So hopefully, as I've said before, we can all work together and reach a position where that sort of idea of good standard league cricket within a confined geographical area can continue into the future.
Well, okay, John.
Glasses back on now after that pontification.
Okay, John. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Hopefully,
I really appreciate everything you've done with the Beyond the Boundaries. Boozy.
No problem.
They've been great to watch. I think I wouldn't like to pick out a favourite, but the Taddy one, it was great to see Taddy for I've not seen him for quite a long time, and that was a good one. I thought he made a lot of sense about how important the Bolton Cricket League has been to his life and to other people's lives, and therefore, it was a great interview. So.
Well, to wrap this up, I'm going to sort of invite that back on. So I thank you for your time, John. This will go out on to all the social media channels as soon as possible. But what I'm doing, I'm sort of opening my arms to everyone in the Bolton League and surrounding areas. If there's anybody wants to, join me on here and chat about this season and anything going forward, then I welcome it,
So can I just end? That's great, that Booth. Can I just end by saying then that it's almost like an appeal to all those people who are administering cricket for the Bolton area in various guises. Let's get away from the legalistic business of this club plays in that league and this club plays in that league, and let's put together a structure that's effective for developing cricket in Bolton and those areas adjoining Bolton, whether it's parts of Bury, parts of Salford, and let's get back to putting the player first and cricket development first, and building upon the USP of cricket in Bolton being in many ways unique across the UK. I just needed to get that message across.
Okay, well, that's an appeal from the chairman. So no, you're right, John. You know, if we could get as many,
I'll no doubt get a telling off from other people on the executive that I should be talking about the Bolton Cricket League. But for me, things have gone beyond that now. We need to get a structure in place for cricket in the Bolton area. I've seen so many people sort of walk away because they've been upset about cricket in the Bolton area being affected, maybe from their point of view in what they see as a negative way. And we don't need to do that anymore. I think we've reached the point now where we need to make things better again. And I'm certainly more than happy to be part of that move forward. And hopefully that appeal will have some impact on other people in Lancashire who are responsible for cricket in our area.
Bro. Right, thanks, John. Well, we're going to put a top hat on this now. So thank you very much for your time. We'll get this out, and I've no doubt I'll see you soon.
Good luck with your other interviews, and I hope I'm sure they'll be as good as the ones that you did last year.
Thanks. No problem. Cheers, John.
Brilliant effort.
Good evening. Speak to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Bye.